program of Farmers Digest today, I'll be talking about safe handling practices, a crop protectionist perspective. I would like us to look at safe handling practices, for agrochemicals, how it affects farmers, and how farmers are supposed to benefit from it. So the first thing we'll be looking at today will be why safe handling. There are reasons for safe handling. One is for farmers' well-being, two is for consumers' well-being, and the third one is for environmental well-being. These things have to be in the same proportion. If any of them is missing, that means something is not safe handling. If you're handling agrochemicals and is affecting the farmer, that means there is probably something wrong there. If it's affecting the consumers, that is those who are going to eat what is produced from the farm, there's also a problem. And if it is also detrimental to the environment, there is also a problem. That means it's not safe handling. So these are the three things that we have to consider before that. Now let's look at risk assessments. In risk assessment, there are things we look at whenever we are handling agrochemicals, because we know that agrochemicals many of them are poisonous. And anything that can kill cockroach, anything that can kill insects, has a tendency of killing human being. It may not kill human being immediately, but some of them kill gradually. So let's look at the things we look out for in terms of risk assessment. We look at review of safety data sheets. We look at the labeling, we look at inventory and documentation, we look at training and awareness, we look at visual inspection, consulting experts, emergency response, regulatory compliance. Now let's look at safety sheets. That is safety data sheets. This is an example of safety data sheets. So you can see here, this is what it entails. So what are we supposed to see in safety data sheet? We see things like manufacturer's contact information, the components, contaminants, and the exposure limit. You see fire and explosion data, toxicity data. That is telling us whether that thing is harmful to human being or to the environment. We talk of health hazards. We talk of effects of exposure, emergency, and first aid, and appropriate protective equipment. And this is what it looks like. So I copied this one from a company, and this is product and company identification. You see the product name, this is an epoxy thinner. So mainly when agrochemicals or other chemicals come, they are supposed to have this safety sheet. So that's what you're going to look out for. Just like somebody who purchased medication over the counter, there are many leaflets that are inside it. That's what you're going to see. What are the side effects? What if you mistakenly take overdose? What are you supposed to do? So that is what this thing looks like here. Now let's look at toxicity class, because we talked about toxicity class. Many of our chemicals, as I said, let me say about 90% of chemicals we have are toxic to human being and are harmful to the environment. Now let's look at it. We have 4 toxicity classes. We have the category 1, category 2, category 3, and category 4. So category 1, they are always painted red. Sometimes when you see the bottle under the label part, we have red around it. These are, or you also see this skull and 2 crossbones. That shows that that chemical is highly toxic. That's what we are seeing here. It's highly toxic. So example are chlorpyrifos. You see them in chlorpyrifos. The class 2 are yellow. The class 1 are extremely toxic. The class 2 are highly toxic. And when we look at it, we look at the oral leather dose. Oral leather dose is between 1 to 50 milligram per kg. So anybody who takes between 1 milligram to 50 milligram per kg of this chlorpyrifos it is assumed to be extremely toxic to that person. That's why we see this brand, Sniper. You see that a lot of people have taken Sniper and they died because Sniper is in this first grade. SART is DDVP. Yeah, you understand? Diclofos. is part of this. So the category 2 is painted yellow. And you can see pyrethroids. Pyrethroids are those ones that have train, like cypermethrin, like tetatrin, like bifenthrin, like lambda cyhalothrin. They always have, they either have this or they'll have exclamation mark. You know what exclamation mark is? So that's what they have, exclamation mark, show that that thing is highly toxic. So anybody who comes in between 50 milligram per kg to 500 milligram per kg is exposed to high level of toxicity. Now let's look at class 3. We look at glyphosate, the normal glyphosate we use for clearing of our weeds before planting. They are painted blue. They have blue, and sometimes they are green, but the main thing they're supposed to be blue. So between 501 to 5,000 milligram. So these ones are moderately toxic. And between 501 to 5,000 milligram per kg exposure is the leather dose. So what this leather dose means is that the dose that somebody will take before it kills the person. Or yeah, so we see the category 4. These are the biopesticides and some natural products. These ones are green. They are slightly toxic. So when somebody consumes or is exposed to 5,000 above 5,000 milligram per kg, so so that's it. So another thing again we have to look at, you see anywhere you see hand wash, like somebody washing hand and from this tube, from this test tube, water is pouring. It means that it's corrosive. This one is explosive. Anything that is corrosive is that it can make something to rust. Explosive. It can blow like bomb. Inflammable. Don't take it near fire. It will go. It will catch fire, or it will ignite fire. You see this one, environmental hazard. Anytime you see fish and tree drying up and the fish raising head up, it shows the tree is dead. The fish is also dead. The oxidizing toxic, we've talked about this one is harmful irritants. We talk about biohazards. This is a time of biohazard. This is a sign of radioactive. That means it has the tendency of multiplying itself. It has a chain tendency of multiplying itself. So let's look at inventory and documentation. Part of the things we look at. In inventory, look at the purchase date, the quantity, storage, location, expiration. Why do you need these things? Because the purchase date will let you know, oh, when to the quantity, storage, and expiring date. This will also help you to know. Just like in economics, they will tell you that first in, first out. So if it is assumed that what you purchased first this year should have been manufactured late than what you purchase, what you're going to purchase next year. So you use the first one, because some chemicals, as they are getting old, as they expire, they become more toxic. So that would be. So training and awareness, we look at training and awareness. These are part of the things we have to do. You keep on training the people that are working with you, people that are using these chemicals, to know how toxic these chemicals can be to them, and to their health and to their loved one. So look at visual inspection. Anywhere you keep chemicals, you check for leakage and spills, check for damaged containers, improper storage or condition, because these are the things that can make us to be exposed to these chemicals. That's emergency drill. This is emergency response plan, just like drill. If anything is happening, where do your staff or where do people working with you, where are these expected to, what are they expected to do? What are they, where are they expected to assemble? Who are they supposed to call? These are the things you have to put it, so that things that are preventable will not end up taking people's life or endangering people's health. Then we also look at regulatory compliance. This regulatory compliance, it means that we have to adhere to government regulations regarding use and storage, transportation, disposal of hazardous substances, because some substances are not supposed to be disposed the way other substances are disposed. And also with that, so let me look at this handling of chemicals now. You see, anybody who wants to use any chemical, look at this man wearing this protective clothing, or this picture of this man wearing this protective clothing. You see, there is need for anybody handling chemicals to wear protective clothing. The reason is that some of these chemicals, if they touch the skin of the person carrying them, Some of them have what we call tendency of becoming biomagnified and bioaccumulated. So when we talk of biomagnification, they get to the body and the chemical starts increasing. And bioaccumulation is that they have a way of getting into the body. And when these things happen, these are some of the things that can cause cancer. You notice that sometimes some people may spray herbicides or insecticide or anyone, and when they get home, they start feeling weak because of it could be because of the chemicals that they might have inhaled or that might have touched them, because these things are not good. And so when we talk about PPE, you look at, you have to wear something on your head, cover your nose, cover your face so that they don't have anywhere to touch you. You see something, you see overall, wear hand glove, wear boots, because some of them are corrosive. You know, you wear all these things because if peradventure anything happens, it will first touch the clothes, which you can easily remove, and it will have less effect on your less contact to the skin. So we look at use of PPE, you look at the right choice of PPE, you have to know what you are using, which kind of chemical are you using. If you are spraying chemical on the tree, you have to wear something that will cover your head. Because when you are spraying, you are raising up to spray. There's tendency that it will be falling. The wind may make it to fall back on you. So, you know, look at all these things. Then fit. So we have to look at the PPE that is PPE is personal protective clothing. Personal protective equipment, I mean. So it has to be fit to avoid obstruction. You know, it has to fit in the place. Not when somebody is wearing oversized. It's not going to help the person. Sometimes it can even lead to falling. You know, it can lead to trip and fall, and the person may even get more injury, even depending on what happens. So we look at proper maintenance and disposal. Now, once you are done, anybody who wears these things, this PPE, once the person is done, the person should remove. So wash it separately, soak it separately and wash it. Don't use the same bucket you use in cooking food to wash. No. Don't wash it with your normal clothes. No. Those things should be washed separately and sprayed separately, because no matter the amount of washing, the chemical residues will still be in there. So let's look at label and instruction. Handling procedure. So you have to look at the label to see how to handle them, how to apply them, because part of the challenges we have that causes residual effect of some chemicals. That's what I mean residual effect is that sometimes after cooking, after planting, let's just use plants for example, after planting, you may notice that these chemicals, when we test the chemicals on the food, we will see them on it. That's why some people will eat beans and they will purge. That's our normal cow. They will be purging because the chemicals that are used in preserving those things are still there. They are still in the food. They don't just go like that. So you have to understand the rates. If the manufacturer is saying apply 15 mil per 16 liters, you have to. Don't go and apply because you feel that the the insects are much, you apply 150. It will take longer time for those things to degenerate. So that's why we have to follow the application rate. Then we look at safety precautions. Some chemicals, when you bring the chemical level, just like what we saw in the safety sheets, we have to follow that. So avoid indiscriminating mixing of different types of agrochemicals. Yes, it's wrong. Some of them can have synergetic effects. Some of them can have detrimental effects. Some of them can have, they can even prevent the other one from working. Even, it's just like science. Some of them can even come together and become explosives or even become corrosive, you know. So use it according to the way the manufacturer has constructed it. So use proper equipment. Like when somebody is applying fertilizer, you don't have to use a hand to apply. One is that you're not having a good calibration, that you're not having good gauge. You can be adding five, you might be having 20 grams at one point and be adding 50 grams. At the end of the day, you've wasted chemical. And when you've wasted, it's also affecting your own productivity, because at the end of the day, you're going to check your gain and your losses. So let's look at, there's some of these things we also have to look at. So while we're looking at this, we see that the storage, so let's look at storage. In terms of storage, we see that when you're storing chemicals, like fertilizers, you have to store them in a dry and ventilated places. If you don't store, if you store them in moist place, some of them are hygroscopic, you understand? So there are different things that can happen. So you have to store them in a ventilated place, and that's cool. It's not exposed to it's not exposed to direct sunlight, because exposure to direct sunlight can sometimes reduce the efficacy of those chemicals. So we also look at we store in designated area. Yes, you don't have to store near food. You don't have to store near water. You don't have to store where children or where people or animals are. So they're supposed to be special places. You don't just have to put your agrochemicals outside. So temperature control is also very important, because some of them are temperature sensitive. Like when you talk of something like calcium fertilizers, if you leave them for so long, they will start kicking. If you leave them outside for so long, the temperature is not monitored, they will start kicking, that they will become thick. You will not be able to use them. So also we store in secure containers. Like each time you want to use, you open an agrochemical, make sure the container you're using is secure to avoid leak and exposure to contaminants, to avoid them spilling, this, and to even avoid people. It's not like if anything touches it and it falls, so to avoid other damages. So you have to separate chemicals from each other. That's very important, because some chemicals are acidic, some are alkaline in nature, some are corrosive, some are hazardous, some are not even, some are even um uh, not, some may not even be be detrimental to human health or to the environment, but you exposing them with those ones that are detrimental may also contaminate them. So label and organization is also very important. We've talked about safety measures and we talk of fire prevention. So let's talk about fire prevention. So you store fertilizers away from potential ignition sources such as open flames, sparks, or electricity equipment to reduce fire hazards. And there is this need for regular inspection. When you go around to inspect everything where you store them to know their state, it also helps. So it's also part of the things we do to ensure that we are handling these chemicals in the way they should. And environmental consideration, that's very important. After using, how do we dispose? How do we, how do we control runoff? How do we, regarding storage and everything, spills and the rest of them. So now, whenever chemical spill occurs, there are things you're supposed to do. First of all, is to assess the risk, to select the proper PP. So once you've assessed the risk, oh, it is liquid that spills. Now, the PP you're going to wear and boots. Also, you're going to wear boots, you're going to wear gloves, you know. So you go there, and if it's something that has bad smell or something that you can inhale that is poisonous, you wear nose masks. And sometimes even wear face shield. So now the next thing is, after you've assessed it, you wear what you're supposed to wear this day. Then you confine the spill. You find a way to confine it, to stop it from flowing to the other side. That is to stop it from flowing. Then you stop it from the source. The source I think is filling and spilling from. And you evaluate the incident and implement cleanup. So you find the best thing to use in cleaning up. So after that, you decontaminate the sites and then you complete your report. So you write a report about that so that it will be documented. Because if you don't document, such thing may occur again. So documentation helps us to keep track. So how do you decontaminate? After that, you can use disinfectants, or if it's something acidic, you can use an alkaline cleaner to neutralize the acidity. And even wash yourself, wash the PPE that you use, or dispose them, as the case may be. So let's look at appropriate time for fertilizer application. Now, when we're looking at the appropriate time for fertilizer should be applied when the soil is moist. And also, if it's when you apply, it's better you cover them, especially for fertilizers that might lose the efficacy, that might be evaporated. So also look at animal dungs should be used. You have to dry animal dungs first. Then after drying at about 2 weeks, they have after the animal dungs are cured, you can spray them on the soil and then turn over, because to avoid them scorching the plant. Also, fertilizers are not supposed to apply very close to apply on the stem or the roots, because some of them can also scorch. So you apply them closer, but not on it exactly. So insecticide. So you apply insecticide at sunset or before sunrise. The reason is that insects are found in the plant, that's pests. They are found when the environment is still cool. But whenever the sun comes out, insects they go to hide. So all those insects that are pests, you get them at that early morning when the environment is still cool, the weather is undisturbed. Any other thing you do during the afternoon is what you'll be seeing with the beneficial insects, as come for the pollinators. And spraying in the afternoon may end up killing the pollinators. That's why sometimes we have flowers, but the flowers are not producing, may not produce fruits because there will be nothing to pollinate them. So fungicides are applied mainly in the evening and when the humidity is high, because fungi are always in the water. So when the humidity is high, the fungi will come up the water table, and when you apply fungicides, it's able to treat. The fungicides will be able to treat treat the issue. So let's look at this. Why applying contact insecticide against aphids and whitefly? Ensure that the leaves are targeted when you're applying contact. But when you're applying systemic insecticide are those ones that will enter into the system of the plants, enter into the plant. Anytime the insect comes to feed, they feed on the poisoned fluid and go off and die. But when you're talking of contact insecticides, they're the ones that will touch the insect before the insect die. And when you look at aphids, anything that causes yellowing of leaves, any insect that causes yellowing, that means the insect is sucking. So when you're looking at them, especially aphids, aphids are found under the leaf, whiteflies are sometimes found under the leaf. So you have to are found under the leaves also, and on the stem, you have to spray at those parts. And also, one of the reasons you know that aphid is available is when you see honeydews, this white stuff. Is as they are sucking it, this honeydews come out. So it shows that sometimes when you see ants on the plant, and because this honeydews, ants come to feed on this honeydew. So it's also a sign that aphids are there or something that is sucking, a sucking insect is there. So, but when you see things like an insect like bedbug, ladybug, you don't have to. This one is not it's not an enemy. It's a beneficial insect. That is a natural enemy to those to aphids. So you don't have to bother about that. So, thank you for your attention. I appreciate.